In the quietest corners of your mind lurk the monsters you fear the most. These creatures of the night are not born from the shadows that dance on your walls, but from the darkness that resides within your own thoughts. They are the embodiment of your deepest fears, your wildest imaginations. The real terror, you see, doesn't lie in the monster under your bed, but in the horror you conceive in your mind. Brace yourselves, my friends. Prepare yourself as we delve into the abyss of horror. Imagine, if you will, a small town shrouded in an unnatural silence. This is no ordinary town, but one that finds itself nestled in a remote corner of the world, cocooned by a dense forest. Its quaint charm belies an eerie stillness that has taken hold, a silence so profound that it seems to swallow all sound. In this town, the days pass with a heavy, lingering dread, the nights cloaked in an inky darkness that seems to hold its breath. The once bustling streets are now deserted, the laughter of children replaced by the caw of crows. The townsfolk, once jovial and friendly, now keep their doors locked and their eyes averted. An inexplicable fear has gripped them, a fear that has seeped into their very bones. Strange occurrences have started to happen, the soft rustle of leaves, the distant howl of a wolf, the creak of a door in the dead of night. The town is alive with sounds that don't belong. With each passing day the noises grow louder, the whispers more insistent, as if the very earth is trying to communicate a warning. The pets, the faithful companions of the townsfolk, begin to disappear one by one. Cats, dogs, even the occasional parrot, all vanish without a trace. The only remnants of their existence are empty kennels and the memories of their owners, memories that grow more painful with each passing day. And then, there are the shadowy figures. They flicker at the corner of the eye, barely discernible yet undeniably present. They lurk in the periphery, elusive and fleeting, yet their presence is felt, a silent specter that haunts the edges of vision. As the unsettling occurrences multiply, the town is gripped by a chilling realization. A monster is in their midst, an entity that defies explanation. It is a creature born of nightmares, a shadowy figure that lurks in the darkness, leaving a trail of fear and confusion in its wake. And then the first sighting happened. It was an ordinary night when the unimaginable horror was first witnessed. In the hushed darkness, the town's long-standing tranquility was about to be shattered. The silence was broken by the piercing scream of Old Man Jenkins, the town's lighthouse keeper. He was a man known for his unflappable nature, a stalwart figure in our little community. But that night, his voice echoed with a raw fear that sent chills down the spines of those who heard it. He spoke of a creature, wild and terrifying, a beast unlike anything he'd ever seen. His words tumbled out in a frantic rush, painting a picture of a nightmare come to life. He spoke of gleaming eyes that pierced the darkness, of a hulking form that moved with an unnatural speed and agility. He told of razor-sharp claws that could rend steel like paper, and a grotesque gaping maw that seemed to promise a swift and gruesome end. With the first sighting, fear gripped the town in its icy hold. The monster, once a whisper on the wind, a shadow in the dark, had made its chilling presence known. No longer was it a tale to frighten children or a legend to amuse the old. It was real as the spectral moon and the silent stars. Reports of subsequent sightings began to trickle in, each one more horrifying than the last. The monster was seen at the edge of the forest, its eyes glowing like two burning embers in the night. It was spotted near the lake, its massive silhouette reflected in the still waters. Each encounter left an indelible mark of terror on the town and its inhabitants. Fear, once a distant concept, now cloaked the town in its suffocating shroud. Doors were bolted, windows shuttered, and children hushed. The once vibrant town square was now a ghostly arena, echoing with the whispers of wind and the occasional hoot of an owl. The laughter and joy that once filled its corners were replaced with an eerie silence. The townsfolk huddled in their homes, their hearts pounding in their chests, their eyes wide with dread. The monster had reduced the bustling town to a hollow shell of its former self. Attempts were made to capture or kill the monster. Brave souls ventured into the night, armed with torches, pitchforks, and an unwavering resolve. But the monster was not to be tamed. It was a phantom, a wraith, elusive and uncatchable. Those who dared to challenge it were met with a fate worse than death. Their screams punctured the night, their faces frozen in a mask of terror. Each failed attempt only served to embolden the monster, its reign of terror growing with every passing day. As news of the horror spread, the town found itself increasingly isolated. Neighboring towns grew wary, their borders fortified. Travelers rerouted their journeys, their faces pale with fear at the mere mention of the town's name. The once buzzing marketplaces were now deserted, the lively taverns now desolate. The town, once a beacon of life and bustle, was now a desolate island in a sea of apprehension. The monster's reign of terror was relentless and unforgiving. It was not just a creature, it was a symbol of fear, a manifestation of the town's darkest nightmares. It lurked in the shadows, unseen but always felt. Its presence was a constant reminder of the town's plight, a chilling echo of the terror that had consumed it. The town was living a nightmare with no end in sight. In the depth of despair, the true nature of the monster was revealed. As the terror mounted and the town's sanity teetered on the edge of oblivion, a revelation struck like a bolt of lightning. This beast, this creature of nightmares, was not born of fang or claw. Instead, it was a manifestation of a far more sinister entity. It was born of the collective fear and paranoia that had been festering within the town's heart. The monster was a psychological creature, feeding off the terror that gripped the townsfolk. It thrived on the panic that echoed through the silent streets, and the dread that lingered like a fog. It was not the shadow that lurked in the darkness, but the fear of that darkness. It was not the unseen beast in the forest, but the fear of what that beast could do. It was a mirror, reflecting back the darkest fears of those who gazed upon it. As this realization dawned, the townsfolk found themselves faced with a choice. They could continue to live in fear, feeding the monster and sealing their own doom, or they could confront their terror, starve the monster, and reclaim their lives. In the face of this chilling truth, the town chose to fight. They began to unravel the threads of their fear, each person confronting their own personal demons. They shared their fears openly, tearing down the walls of silence that had allowed the monster to grow. They banded together, standing strong against the night, against the monster, against their own fear. With each passing day, the monster grew weaker. The once chilling roars that echoed through the night became less frequent, less terrifying. The shadows that once held unseen horrors became just shadows again. The town began to breathe, the grip of fear slowly releasing its hold. But this was not a battle won by weapons or brute force. It was a battle of the mind, a battle against the fear that had held them captive. It was a victory of courage over terror, of hope over despair, of unity over isolation. And finally the day came when the monster was no more. The town had overcome their fear, and with it, they had defeated the monster. The shadows no longer held terror, and the night no longer whispered of unseen horrors. The town was free, not just from the monster, but from the fear that had given it life. In the end, the real monster was not the creature that lurked in the shadows, but the fear that lived within us all. The townsfolk had learned a chilling lesson, one that would echo through the ages. Fear can create monsters, but courage, unity, and hope can defeat them.